GM.
How's it going, Karen?
I'm good. Welcome back to Hong Kong, man.
Yeah, what a great time to come back. It's like 50 degrees, right? Crazy
Yeah,
wave going
hot
on.
as hell. It's a sunny day in Hong Kong. Welcome, everybody.
It's definitely a sunny day. Let's remove that guy. It's a sunny day. It's hot in Hong Kong, but it's the summer, and web3 is heating up. How about that for a side reference? I was at I just came back, and I've already been at like 3 web3 events in Hong Kong. It's crazy. I went to this new venue in Central called The Verse, and it's like a Web3 hub. They have already hosting Solana and all these different builders and what's going on in Hong Kong. So it's amazing the difference between Toronto, San Francisco, and Hong Kong and what's going on in these different places. And I love to be back in Hong Kong. I think Asia is just incredible for this Web3 phenomenon and industry. And so we're very excited to continue building here. But Karen, sorry, I got to do this to you. But what are the ABCs of GM Show for new listeners?
Yeah, if you're new to the show, the ABC of the GM Show is Asia focused, builder friendly, and cool vibes only. So this is not just a meme land show. It's a Web3 show bringing Asia to the world. So shout out to some of the listeners in the audience. We have a lot of familiar faces. We have Furkan S. I see you every week. Saki Soba, hello. I see you as well. Welcome, everybody. Tino, hello, from Singapore. Well, good to have everybody.
I love to see all the different cartoon faces. We got Potatoes, we've got Captains, we've got Cyberkongs, we've got Kaiju, we've got everybody in the audience today. And it's just so great to see the community come together to hear from our guests today and maybe learn a little cool stuff of what they're building over there. But before we begin, let's do a little bit of announcement from our chairman.
The GM Show is not investment advice. We may or may not have ownership interests in the projects we are talking about, but this is not investment advice in any way, shape, or form. And this is not Sir David Attenborough.
Thank you. Thank you, our chairman. I don't know why he's our chairman, but
he's the chairman because it sounds exciting. Let's see. We have a big show today, so we're gonna get right into it. Just some shout outs to some of the events that are happening around the world. I think a lot of people are getting ready to go to Paris next week for the ECC conference. There's all kinds of stuff happening over there, so we hope to get an insight and seeing who's from Asia going out there. But I think it's one of the bigger shows in the world. And then later this month, back in Asia, WebX is happening in Tokyo on the 25th and 26th. I know Tokyo has a lot of Web3 events, maybe more than we do now. Because I feel like there's always something going on over there, which is great to hear.
Always a reason to go back to Tokyo.
I know, right? Nobody needs a reason, but if there's a conference going on, we got to go there. So maybe we'll check that out. And then there's a Coin Fest that's happening in Bali at the end of August. So that's another Asia show as well. So lots of stuff going on still. Yeah, it's just so interesting to see like all this happening here in Asia, all these shows that are going on. And we're going to plug it again, but we'll be at Token 2049 Singapore in September. I think that's the big one for Asia as well. A lot of North Americans are coming out and Europe are coming out for it. So that's exciting as well. Okay, let's
again.
Exactly. Right. Okay, let's before we begin, let's also hear a word from our sponsor.
Today's show is not sponsored by Threads. Threads is where communities come together to discuss everything from the topics you care about today to what'll be trending tomorrow. Whatever it is you're interested in, you can follow and connect directly with your favorite creators and others who love the same things.
Oh, you're muted.
Awesome. Oh, did that cut off the end of the ad?
Probably. Yeah. But I mean, it's just a bot. But I feel like everyone is discussing if Threads is better than Twitter. Oh my God, that's the biggest discussion. It's just the first week of the Threads launch.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
So we have a Memeland account on there. There's a 9gag account. Karen and I are both on it. Karen, what do you think? Are you enjoying the first week on Threads or?
Yeah. 9gag just passed 3 million followers on
Okay,
Threads.
yeah, I tweeted this out too. This is amazing, right? I see Bill Gates, I see all these other celebrities around the world, and they
Yep.
don't have anywhere near the following that 9gag has on.
Because we had like 58 million on Instagram to begin with, and
Wow.
then when everyone downloads Threads, they just like automatically follow what they're already following
Right.
on Instagram. So easy 3 million followers.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. It's amazing to see that. I just saw a comment on YouTube. Somebody said F Threads, F Facebook. Yeah, I think a lot of
Okay.
people don't understand that WhatsApp and Instagram are part of Facebook. So if you don't like that whole company, then you probably don't want to get onto this thing as well. But I found it to be very interesting. Yeah, like you said, a lot of the Instagram, if you're on Instagram, it automatically onboards you into Threads. And that's why they got to such a high number so quickly. In terms of themselves onboarding like 100 million users faster than
Yeah.
ChatGPT. Like that's like an amazing number, but I don't know how many people are going to stick around. Like just getting onboarded is one thing, but actually using it day to day is another. So we'll see what happens. But
Yep.
if you're on it, you can follow us on there. I don't know if the GM Show will have its own account on that, but
Not yet.
we love Twitter. Crypto Twitter is still where it's at.
Yep.
I mean, engagement level of all our listeners and all the fans are just all over Twitter. So I think we're definitely going to pay more attention there. Plus, we're doing Twitter Spaces on Twitter right
Yep.
now. So this is kind of the thing. So
Still
we'll
a
see what
Twitter
happens.
fan.
But yeah, let us know. Drop a comment below if you're on Threads, if you like it or not, and also let us know what you're threading about up there.
Yep.
Okay, so let's bring on our first guest. I mentioned all these shows that happened around. They're happening soon. But actually, there was a show last week in Vietnam that we completely was not on our radar, but it looked incredible. It's called GM Vietnam. And we're going to bring up one of the co-founders of Sleek, Tanya. She was there. They had a big booth there. Tanya, why don't you come on up?
Yeah.
Hello.
Good
GM.
morning, Vietnam is such a good name, seriously.
Yeah. Every day they just start the day for as GM Vietnam. So it was a good name. Hey guys.
Before we start, Tanya, just tell everybody quickly, what is Sleek?
Yeah, Sleek is the first Web3 business card, but a lot cooler. We help you to remember all your connections made during conference, a networking event, and we have the first Telegram bot built to just help you to network.
Okay, cool.
Love
cool,
it.
cool. So, GM Vietnam, tell us about it. It's what city? It's in Ho Chi Minh City. It was like the 6th to the 8th, so last week. What's the vibe there? What's the vibe in Vietnam? I mean, it's great that they have their own show, and there's a lot of big speakers, a lot of big booths there. Tell us a little bit about what you saw there.
Yeah, it was actually the biggest Vietnam blockchain week. And then I was honestly really surprised by the quality of the guests, the booth. They had a Axie Infinity tournament. I have never
Wow.
seen a
Wow.
real tournament with like live commentator, Chief Worcester. He's the Axie GG founder, just like commentating. It was a lot going on and the screen were crazy. It really felt like you're in a World of Warcraft tournament or something like that.
Awesome.
And then Binance, Aptos, we were there. We were actually activating people, helping them to like claim airdrops when you network. So it's like network to earn. So people loved it.
Wow.
And I think there were almost like 6,000 people were there, and half of them were like international people flying in. And half were like locals that are very crypto native. Apparently, Vietnam is one of the highest has the highest crypto adoption rate, especially in Asia. And like it was really cool, really good vibe, and a lot of gaming projects. Vietnam, like Axie Infinity's home, and a lot of game developers, studios. It was co-hosted by Asian8, which also is a game guild, and Kairos Ventures. So a lot happening, super good vibe, and like a lot of young builders and developers just hanging around.
Did you see what kind of difference would you see there at the GM Vietnam than you would see at maybe the last show you went to in the US or something? Is it the gaming angle? Or is it consensus. Okay, good. That's a huge comparison.
Yeah, I think like Vietnam is really a home for a lot of developers and game developers. So there are a lot more actually like developers hanging around, checking it out, while in US you have a lot more like founders or BD, like, you know, it's like different, it's very different vibe. Like people are like very interested to find out like what is the latest tech, like what are all the layer ones are doing. Aptos were there letting people try things out. So yeah, it's really like the kind of demographic of people. And I have to say, like, Vietnam is like really cheap, and so it's like very good for like good coffee and like hosting events.
Yes.
The coffee is the
Crazy.
best.
Coffee
Yeah.
is the best.
There's
Yeah.
there's like 4 coffee shops in every block there.
Yeah, and they're so good. They're like Vietnamese coffee with like thick condensed milk.
Strong.
No Starbucks there, only the local coffee is amazing.
Yeah.
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 So from there, do you think next year, well, do you hear are there more shows happening? Is this the main event happening in Vietnam? If people want to go over there, should they wait for the next year, or do you think there's other stuff being built the rest of the year?
Yeah, there's another one that's called Near APAC Con. It's like Near Con, like, you know, every year in Lisbon, but they are trying to go to, like, they are going to Vietnam. That is happening actually
Interesting.
in between Token Proof of Work and Korea Blockchain Week. So technically you can go to Korea, fly to Vietnam, and then go to Singapore. So I think that's a pretty smart move. Yeah, it's like a lot of different chains as well, not just Near. I haven't been to one. Apparently it's the first APAC one. So we'll see.
Amazing. So any other tips? Okay, so it's cheap. There's a lot of coffee, a lot of young builders, a lot of gaming stuff there. Are there what kind of things that you saw that you think, you know, people that are in Hong Kong or around the world, they know they would like to go to it next year for sure, or to more explore more what's happening in Vietnam?
Yeah,
Coffee
I mean, like,
For me, it's the coffee. But what else?
Yeah.
What else exciting? And of course, the parties at night must have been amazing. Like are the venues
Yes.
cool and stuff like that?
Yeah. Well, I think 2 things. Number one is the food, like the banh mi and like the pho was just so
Yeah.
good, and it's so cheap. And I talked about it on LinkedIn. I was like, if you come here, you want to meet your investor, meet new friends, like take them to all these local places and squat there together. Like I'm sure
Yeah.
you guys will like.
What is the normal price for a banh mi?
I really like this place called Banh Mi Ho Ha or something like that. I wrote it on LinkedIn, but like you literally like squat on the street and like eat it by the street
Yeah.
on the side.
That's the best.
Yeah, that's one. And then number 2 is like, there's a funny thing that I figure out. There's a place called Web3 Tower. I don't know which project bought a building during bull market.
Wow.
You can Google map it. Like there's a place called Web3 Tower. I don't know what's going on there. I haven't visited, but like you can see it on Google Map and you can see it from far away. That's really
Damn.
cool. Apparently a project bought a building with the treasury. I don't know if it's USDT or whatever, but like they bought a building.
What? And you didn't go inside, so you don't know what's inside. It's just called Web3 Tower.
I don't know. Yeah,
Maybe it's
I
just
don't
a
know which
coffee
project
shop.
bought it.
A coffee shop.
Yeah.
They're using it as marketing over there.
Huge building.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really cool. And I think if you are looking for like developers to join your team, like lowering your costs during bear market, they have a lot of studios, a lot of good dev. I was trying to hire developer from Vietnam as well. I think it's a good place. People are super hardworking and they're very Web3 native. So yeah, that's definitely.
Can you talk about like pricing then? Do you like what are some of the going rates there? Just so you know, approximately.
I think it is almost like 30 to 50% lower than Hong Kong, and probably even lower compared to US. The only barrier is that it's really hard to find someone who can speak really good English.
That was my next question. Yeah, what's the language barrier like?
Yeah, so what happened is people normally hire like a product manager or project manager that went overseas and study, right? Then you pay them like higher rate, and then they manage like an army of developers for you. But it's not as easy as everyone think. I tried, but yeah, we're trying. Like there are developers that could speak really good English, especially younger ones. So it's just about figuring it out and like finding your gems.
Wow.
Do you see a lot of people wearing like NFT merch? Do you see like a lot of Bored Apes like?
I see a lot of Azuki.
Like they do in the States. Oh, Azuki, nice.
Yeah, we actually were co-hosting like non-fungible Saigon there, and it's like the biggest and the first NFT communities. there were a pretty good like a good amount of like NFT holders from all sorts of NFTs, but I would say Azuki is like the majority there.
Interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. Okay, great. Tanya, thanks a lot. What show are you going to next? You're always, since your startup's all around networking and Web3, what's your next event you're going to? Are you going to Paris next week?
I'm not in Paris, but we're going to CoinFest and we'll be their official networking power. So if you guys want like discount code, come find me.
Okay,
I will help you there.
That's better than Alpha. Is actual discount code.
See you in Bali.
I pinned the GM Vietnam tweet to this Twitter space, so you can see they made a really cool video of like the highlights of the stuff. And if I looked at that, I'd be like, I'm getting a ticket. Plus, what Tanya just said, it sounds like an amazing time. So I feel bad we didn't know about it, but maybe we'll see you in Bali then in August.
Yeah. Okay. See you guys.
Tanya.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thank you.
Very interesting stuff.
Now I'm craving for some Vietnamese food and coffee.
Exactly. That's the number one thing. And number two thing is to go down to Ho Chi Minh to see what's going on there next year. Because, I remember the Axie Infinity stuff was like massive down there. They had a big thing. So it's like they're like a Google, they are like training up all the new people. That project came out a couple years ago. And so a lot of people, but maybe, they learn from it and then they leave and start their own company. It's just amazing that the ecosystems can keep building and rippling out this effect. And I mean, it happened. I saw it in Vancouver with Dapper. Growing, and then all the people leaving, starting their own projects. And so, I mean, Vietnam is going to be a hot spot for us.
It's a hop, yeah.
So definitely we're going to try and get some more Vietnam leaders onto the show and talk a little bit more about what's happening there. We want to make sure we have more Asia focus, as well as a lot of these international brands that are coming to Asia, like our guest today. So let's get into it.
Who's our guest?
Our guest. Well, I pinned it to the Twitter space so you can take a look at it. But the project was founded in March 2021, making it one of the super OGs, right?
Yeah.
CyberPunk started as a unique and randomly generated collection of only 1,000 NFTs, and the Gorillas, and that's the Genesis collection. They were first to introduce and popularize a number of innovative NFT mechanics, such as unique tokenomics for their utility token Banana, the VX collection, the 3D avatars designed for the metaverse, and the most interoperable avatar of any 3D project. They're supported by a passionate core community. CyberKongs continues to push the boundaries of NFTs, the ecosystem, which includes play and collect, which we're going to talk about, expansive economics in Web3, and the first non-pixelated artwork, Genkai, inspired by anime, drawn by Japanese folklore and the style of their brand new thing as they enter into this Asia and Japanese markets. Here to talk about building CyberKong's brand, welcome one of the Council of Kong members, Henry the Grape.
Now this one sounds like an MMA fighter name. Henry the Grape.
Henry the Grape.
Holy shit, that was such an awesome intro. Can we do it again?
More time.
Henry the Grape.
That's how you get pumped up.
Welcome on the stage.
Thank you for having me.
Am I a good MC or what?
That was unbelievable. I'm not even kidding. I think that was the best introduction I've ever had. No.
Wow. Yeah, it's like you're ready for fight.
I'm ready. I'm ready. But we're not going to fight. We're going to love, we're going to vibe, and like super stoked to be here with you guys.
Yeah.
Awesome. Henry,
let's coming to the show.
Start off. Let's provide a little historical context. I kind of gave a quick overview, but I'd like to hear from you, like the start of CyberKongs and how you guys really launch a lot of, you came out before Bored Apes and everything like that. I think it's very important that the community understand all these firsts that you guys did.
Yeah, such a different beginning, a different genesis than so many other projects in Web3, because we were a little bit early, not punk early, but March of 2021, our founder and artist Mio was a tattoo artist during COVID that was just kind of out of work at the time while all of that was going on, and decided as a COVID relief project to make these 1,000 Genesis Kongs. Honestly, having no idea whether anybody would actually care about them. He launched them on an OpenSea contract for 0.01 Ethereum. And kind of what started to transpire was a whole bunch of people just vibed with the artwork. In fact, there wasn't even a Discord. If you think of that, OpenSea contract, no Discord. I don't even think Mio opened the Discord until maybe 2 days after launch. And what transpired was just a whole lot of people that were obviously just looking for something like this, got together and formed what is now one of the coolest communities in Web3. That was really the foundation, the OGs of our project that got together and said, like, this is awesome. Let's keep doing something with it, and let's kind of continue to build. So, we can go deeper into like what CyberKongs are, but that was the start of who we are.
Yeah, I think that the community side of it is very important to us because that's kind of meme land's tagline nowadays, right? Because you guys came out so early, you've gone up and down in the market. A lot of people are coming in just for the financial gain, but some people are still there for the community. You had a limited amount of first Genesis project, and then you added more NFTs into the thing. How do you guys keep the community so strong all these years? And I mean like 2 years, but it seems like forever in Web3.
It is forever in Web3. It's an awesome question because I think it's like personally, so I'm also the community manager of Kongs. So to me, and I try to tell our community as often as I can, like, we're here because of you guys. It isn't because of the core team and everything we're doing. We wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for them. So it's kind of funny because communities almost become memeable, right? It's become this thing. Everybody's got their community and buildings become memeable, but CyberKongs were really one of those first sticky communities. People wanted to join, they wanted to be a part of it, to kind of be a part of something different. I think at that time there was lots of little groups, little discords, maybe you had your 50, 100 people that you were in. CyberKongs was that. When I was in the Discord, I remember a couple hundred, few hundred people in there. We're now at 38,000, give or take. But I think at the time we were fortunate enough to be early enough and to have the attention of these OG Axie Infinity members, CryptoPunks that were just looking for a new place to kind of chill. And I think once they saw what the core team started to push out, which was, our tokenomics and breeding the baby Kongs, it just was this snowball effect where one thing led to another. And then we started to get a name. And that's what I think has kind of continued to allow us to stay relevant, because exactly to your point, lots of up and downs, right? Like lots of up and downs. And so like, if we didn't have that sticky community, I think maybe we wouldn't be here. I think that's a fair assessment.
Yeah, like when we first started Memeland, our Discord, we actually look into what CyberKong is doing, and we love the vibe there. And we really love how you're engaging the community. So like, can you tell us like what are the things you've learned building that community now that's been ups and downs, since 2021?
Yeah, it's interesting. So CyberKongs, we did a lot of IRL events. We still do a lot of IRL events. And speaking at those events, I would often get asked afterwards, like, hey, can you talk to us about how you build a community? Apologies, my dogs are literally on the floor above me barking at another dog outside. Sorry. But I don't want to tell them to shut the hell up. So I would have people that would ask me like, hey, can you give us tips on how to build and our community and how to keep people around? And I would say, it's different for everybody, right? You have to have something that brings people together. And one thing that I've noticed from being in different communities is people tend to coalesce around a common idea. If you go to an IRL event, a lot of times you can tell like what communities somebody's associated with, maybe within the first few sentences of talking, if their merch doesn't give it away. And so I think you've got to be able to have some common interest hopefully it is not the price of the NFT, because like if that's what you have, you're going to lose your community the minute that they don't have that anymore. I'm talking about secondary value. So you got to have something that excites people, something that keeps people around, and hopefully a vision that allows people to stay. And if you keep delivering, they'll keep staying, and they'll tell their friends about it. And one part about CyberKongs that we recognized, I think, early was that not everybody in this world can afford, like I think VX Kong is somewhere around, $400 or $500 on the secondary, 0.24, 0.25 ETH. Well, not everybody can afford that. So we've always tried to be inclusive. We say we're an inclusive community with exclusive benefits. So you don't have to own a Kong to be a Kong. And I think that's like a motto that we always want to live by.
Awesome.
Do you see, over the past 2 years, because I've seen it, but I want to see if you've seen it, because you've been in it longer. Is there a maturity, do you think, in the industry now, in the communities? Are people, not so much about the bags and the floor prices, and a bit more looking at what you guys are building? Because as Karen said, like, not only Memeland, but tons of projects are looking up to you guys, since you did a lot of stuff first. You're even doing gaming, and then we're going to get a little bit into what you're working on now. But talk a little bit about how you see the typical NFT Web3 person who's buying into the community or supporting the community, like in 2023 in July.
Yeah, I love that. So for context, for somebody who maybe came into NFTs in 23 or maybe in 22 and doesn't know CyberKongs, our trajectory was that we went from 0.01 Ethereum in March of 21 to sometime in September of 21, a Genesis Kong floor price was 215 Ethereum. And that was with Ethereum at almost $4,000. So we hold the record of the highest floor price of a PFP. And that seems like really cool, right? Oh, like, great, you have that mantle. But at the end of the day, those are expectations that are damn near impossible to meet and exceed consistently, because the reality is, like, we didn't cause that to happen. That was external factors, influencers that were promoting things for the wrong reason that drove this to like an insane price. So I think what happened is we went through this period of time, certainly in the third, fourth quarter of 21, and definitely through 22, as people started to see the price start to go down. And people who bought at those levels were probably hating our guts because, like, sorry, what can we do about that? I mean, we are a project that will never artificially inflate anything about the secondary market. We just are really careful to stay away from that. So you had those people that no matter what we did, it wasn't good enough. And I think at this point in July of 23, we've turned the corner, because anybody who's really bought into Kongs in the last 6 to 12 months has bought in for the future. They've bought in for this vision, and they've bought in because they've seen that, like, we've delivered and we're going to keep delivering. So I've said this for a bit. I seriously think this is the best community that CyberKongs have ever had in comparison to any time that we've been around.
Amazing. That's good to hear. Karen? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, like, this is your community is where we really look up to, and you guys have spent a lot of time like developing games and IPs. So let's discuss like what are you guys bringing into the real world IP? Like, do you guys have any plans, like any exciting plans upcoming? And if you have to pick the best IP projects out there besides yours, what's that?
Ooh, okay. So I guess I'll answer that one first. Okay, and I'll admit this, like, because of how busy we are, like, on the core team, I feel like I'm in the bunker oftentimes. So I bet there's a whole lot of projects out there that have amazing IP that I'm not familiar with. But I always give credit where I think credit's due. So without a doubt, I think Yuga Labs has done a great job at marketing and maintaining a position within the marketplace. And you got to give credit, even though Azuki has gone through some stuff lately. I think the reality is, like, I hear all the time how much people love the art of Azuki. And I think you got to put you guys right up there, because first off, what you guys have accomplished is amazing in the time period of which you've accomplished it. And I think what you guys are doing with captains, with the traits, with meme is something that obviously the space is anticipate, like, everybody's been waiting for it. I think it's going to, change the game to a certain degree on how people can rock a personalized PFP. So, I mean, those are 3 projects that come to mind. And there's other great ones out there. There's loads of other great IP. But as far as CyberKongs go, listen, I love my Genesis Kong. Like I have Henry. My real name is not Henry, by the way. I named my profile picture Henry the Grape, and then all of a sudden everybody started calling me Henry. So like, I love my PFP. I love CyberKong's art, but the next expansion of our IP, which is Genkai, I mean, because I'm behind the scenes, I've seen what's coming out, and I'm really excited because I think the art style of it is so different, and I think it's gonna. We've teased it on Twitter. I think it's gonna really. I think people are going to be really excited when they see the full collection.
Yeah, alpha.
Yeah, you guys are doing a big launch on that. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, I guess the next question I want to ask now is kind of looking now as you guys are ramping up a new collection and new stuff coming out. How is it building in a bear market right now? How many people do you have on the team? Where do you guys see the growth opportunities for people in Web3 or joining to Web3? Are they going to be artists? Are they going to be programmers? Like, what area are you guys looking at as you develop out? And also, what do you see in the next 12 months in this kind of market and what you guys are doing?
Yeah, so our team, we're small. We've got maybe 10 to 15 people between let's say full-time and part-time. In addition, we have our mods who they're amazing. I mean, they keep our Discord running full time. So shout out to them. And our collab team, of course, which is, always busy. So small team, building in a bear. What's it like? So, building in a bull is damn near impossible, because in a bull market, it's neurotic. You're getting reached, right? It's crazy. I remember in the bull literally having just like all day long, back-to-back BD calls. Just back to back to back to back, and you're getting shilled, and sometimes you think something's really cool, then you dive into it and you're like, it's like this other thing that I've already seen. And so in a bowl, it's hard to focus as a full team on one thing, because everybody's getting pulled in all these directions, whether it's podcast spaces, BD calls. And in a bear market, you can really focus as a full team. You've got a little more time on your hands, if that makes sense. And it's probably where you can get the most amount of work done the most efficiently. So it's not without its problems. Like, Web3 is new. We're all figuring this out as we go. And at the end of the day, the other day I said, like, it's like running on a track, but there's hurdles like every 4 feet. Sometimes it's really hard to get into that stride, because roadblock, but you don't have a choice. You guys know, like, you have this community that is relying on you, that like loves you. And no matter what, like, okay, roadblock, let's figure it out. Even though, like, after the 15th roadblock of the day, maybe you're a little disheartened, but we've been really fortunate that maybe because of how long we've been around, that we still get contacted. We still, like, our phones are still ringing, and we still have really great connections, like with you guys. We're fortunate to have connections with a project like Memeland, because you guys are doing some cool shit out there. So we're happy that the phone still rings. And at the end of the day, I don't think we've ever worked as hard as we're working right now.
Interesting. That's good to hear. Okay, so this is another next question then. So, the first 2 years, I feel like a lot of people are buying into NFTs. It's a very small market. And now, like, we had Luca on the show from Pudgy Penguins. He launched this massive toy line into Walmart and Amazon. I feel like that is also helping on board little kids into Web3, because they got to mint an NFT through the toy. When I saw that, I was thinking right away, CyberKongs has, they have a very cute little gorilla character and stuff like that. But I don't know if that's in your plan. You don't have to tell me if that's in your plan. But I was just thinking, like, how I feel like this brand as well is easier to onboard more normies, as we call them, into Web3. How important do you think that is? Do you think it's important to just double down on the people that are here now and get them stronger, or do you think you're looking at expanding it out into, like, I don't know if you heard Tanya talk at the beginning, but she's like, a lot of blockchain games are being built. And I feel like that's a huge onboarder for Web3.
Oh, by the way, I will be contacting her after Spaces, because I was listening to what she was saying. And okay, so I think we can double down on Web3 while also expanding into, maybe, if we want to say, conventional Web2 markets, but maybe a little bit different. So I think what what Pudgy Penguins has done with their IP, I think it's very on brand. Like it's very on brand. And I think that's a great way for their community to be able to onboard people. And if those people translate into more Web3 users, like that's great for all of us. And at the end of the day, I think one of the things that CyberKong started to like, okay, yeah, we're a little over 2 years old, but that's not a lot of time when you think of the fact that, okay, Ray, he had a business that had a whole lot of people that were part of his business. And so when he decided to come into Web3, he was able to probably bring some of those people with him, even if they weren't Web3 native, let's say. CyberKong's was strangers that all came together. And there's like a synergy that you hope to have with your coworkers that we just kind of got lucky that we have. But at the same time, we don't know each other. We're all over the world and we had to get to know each other really quick. All of that being said, I think recently we realized, like, who are we, right? Like there was a long time that I was starting to refer to Kongs as like a brand, you know, that was that Doodles post of like, hey, we're no longer an NFT project, we're a brand. And there was probably like a few months where I was referring to CyberKongs as a brand more than I was as a project. Yeah. But I think we started to have these kind of deep conversations about who we are and where are we going. And we just realized like, who are we? Like who are the Kongs? Man, we're Web3. Like we are Web3. We're this grungy, badass community building in Web3 for Web3. And if we're the kind of people that can bring people into Web3 from outside of, you know, our walls right now, amazing. But we also know there's a whole lot of people that may be able to bring people into Web3. And when they come in, we want to be that home for people who love gaming, love the metaverse when that's something that's, you know, up and running a little bit more than it is now, and want to be part of a community because you can come in and get education, you can come in and be really safe, and you can come in and know that you're at least hitched to a team that gives a shit. So I think that's something that we've started to realize, like, yeah, to your point, we have some cool IP. We have some really cool stuff that may or may not be coming out based out of Asia for some things that people might be able to buy. Certainly, you know, we've gone into Web 2 with things like merchandising, you know, our clothing line. But right this minute, I think our biggest focus is staying committed to our brand, which is building in Web 3 and primarily focusing on gaming and metaverse plays.
Great. Okay, you touched upon Asia, so we have to go into that. So I'm assuming that you're in the States. I was in the States recently, and that the Web3 world seems like it's slowly dying there. But I come back to Asia, and it's just booming out here. What's your take on that? When you look around, you talk to people in the States. Is it because of what's going on with the SEC, or is it? Oh, so can you hear me, Henry? Oh, he's lost the audio.
He's muted.
Oh, Henry.
Henry, are you there?
He has to come back.
Hello.
He's gonna
reconnect. If you can hear me, I'm like, I don't know if you can hear me, but I'm flying in the blind.
Okay.
I can hear you now. Yeah. So yeah, did you hear my question? Oh,
you're muted again.
Okay,
Henry.
can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, I came off my Bluetooth. Can you repeat that, Casey? Sorry, all of a sudden my ears went dead.
No, we're based out here in Asia, and I'm assuming you're in the States, and I was just in the States as well recently, and you know, look around in Web3, maybe because of SEC or whatever, seems to be like a little bit dying. But when I come back to Asia, it's booming like crazy. I just wanted to hear like maybe your take on it. Like, what do you see? And you know, you talk to people in the States. Maybe you've been to some of the shows in the States. You know, what's the vibe there? And then maybe what does America hear about Asia in terms of Web3?
Oh, I'm in the States, by the way. I'm based out of New York.
Okay.
I think we might have the unfriendliest environment for crypto. I think it's our loss, to be honest with you. I'm fortunate that I'm the only person on the team that's based in the US. And so, you know, we've said to our community, and we've said on spaces before, our push is into Asia. That's the market that we really, really see as the fastest growing market in Web3 and crypto. So I don't want to say we pivoted from focusing on the US, because that wasn't really something that we ever like set out to say like, oh, the US. But let's be real. We see what's happening within, you know, the SEC. We see what's happening with regulations. And so like, why is it that anybody would want to build here? Let's be honest. So yeah, absolutely. This next collection, when I say the sole purpose is to continue to build in Asia, that has been a focus on us that we really started hitting hard on last fall. And keep in mind, like we were born, CyberKongs were born out of a large Axie Infinity community that was based in Southeast Asia. Like our core reps at the beginning were based in Southeast Asia. So we kind of like want to go back to our roots with that and really focus on what we think is going to be like the future of crypto.
Amazing. Excellent. Okay, before we bring on Ray onto the show and he has some questions for you. Let's just get to the meat of the matter here. Genkai. What is it? What can we expect? What can
you tell us?
Yeah. What alpha is coming up?
Yeah, Genkai. Okay, so Genkai is CyberKong's newest collection, and it's going to be launched end of July. We haven't said a lot about it. I'm going to be completely honest with you. We've teased a lot on Twitter, as far as we've teased the art. We've teased some things, which I'll kind of recap a little bit here. But one of the things CyberKong's really sucked at, okay, if we're just taking a hard look in the mirror and saying like, what were we not good at, was marketing. It's just, by the way, like Meme Land, you guys slaughtered it. There may have been things about CyberKongs that you guys learned. And I remember talking with Ray in Spaces about him talking about like always refining things. And like there's things about marketing that we've learned from you guys. And there's things about marketing that we're starting to understand. So we set out with a plan. Part of that plan was making sure that we didn't give everything away at the very beginning, that we saved some fun stuff for the end, which we're doing. But Genkai is an anime-inspired art collection. And it's the expansion of CyberKong's IP because we have really cool 2D art. We have really cool voxelized art. But at the end of the day, the content that we're going to be releasing in the future, and the story of Kongs, because we've been building this world behind the scenes for 2 years now. And this world, which we've started to tease through this mint, is about our homeland of Niakia. That's the supercontinent that Kongs are from. We've started to release some of this lore. We want to tell that story through this Genkai artwork, through this different type of IP, because it just doesn't work the same with 2D art, and it just doesn't work the same with voxelized art. And Mio loves Japanese inspired art. And so this is the reason that Genkai exists. And I will say this, like, we're going to be doing this in a bit of a gamified manner. So there'll be some announcements that come out before Mint where all of these like pieces of the puzzle are going to start to come together, and we'll have like some major announcements about like what it is that Kongs are doing.
Wow. So wait, I have a personal question. Can you tell us a bit about the artist behind, or is it not?
Yeah. No, actually it's easy. It's Mio, our artist who did the Genesis Kongs and the Baby Kongs and the voxelized Kongs. Also did these. He's quite talented. He's an amazing guy. Just one of the most humble people I've ever met, and he's the artist of Genkai, along with every other art that CyberKongs have released.
Awesome.
Is he? So I would take it he's more like a businessman, and I mean he's more of an artist than a businessman. So he's got counsel to kind of build out the project, right, while he stepped back.
Yeah, Mio, like the sweetest soul you will ever meet, no doubt. Kindest guy. When I say not a business guy, not like he's that creative guy. You know, like talking business just takes him, it like sucks the fun out of it for him. And so that's why we have guys like Coco Bear, Axie Whale, Web3 Whale. He's, one of our titans that's really helped to propel us to where we are now.
Great.
Awesome.
Well, you got to show this. As a question just popped up in the thing, and of course, if we're not going to ask it, somebody else is going to ask it. You see that?
Will there be any collapse with CyberKongs and Memeland for Captain's trades?
Oh, I don't know what you guys have said. I know what I've heard. I know what I know. I just don't know what you know. And
we don't know anything either. This is just pop up on the YouTube. So I thought they're already thinking about this, the captains and the CyberKongs people. So that's amazing.
That would be great.
I've heard through the grapevine. Yeah, I've heard some stuff. I would not be surprised.
You know what? That's a great segue to bring on the man himself, Ray Chan. Come on up.
Hi, Ray.
Joe son, Ray.
Yeah, GM. Good morning.
GM.
Hey.
Ray,
Yeah,
what?
I can answer the questions. Right?
Yes.
The answer is yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
I mean, honestly, right? CyberCons is one of our inspiration, right? In the space, it's not just memeless inspiration; it's an inspiration for me, right? I think I got in NFT, and then I think one of the collections that I buy very early on is actually a collection called Kaiju Kings, right? And then Kaiju Kings was, I mean, I think it's very silly when you look back, right? There was some beef between kings and Kongs and stuff, right? And then, I mean, on one hand, it's because of Godzilla versus King Kong. I think on the other hand, it's because the community, right? Somehow people always love to fight against each other, right? And then they always want to compare who's first and stuff, right? But obviously, the more OG one is CyberCons, right? And then one of my best friends in NFT is Kern, right? And then he's actually, I think he's maybe like one of the top holders of CyberCons, right? And then basically people know that, okay, Kern and we are pretty close on and offline, right? And then, yeah, and that's why we've learned a lot from CyberCons, how to run the community, the gamification, right, and stuff like that. I think, yeah, that's why even in Memeland, one of our captain's types is called Kong, right? We publicly say that is inspired by CyberCons, yeah. So I think, yeah, it's awesome to have Henry here to talk about Genkai, to talk about CyberCons. Yeah, it's an honor.
Oh, honor to be here, bro. I was thinking before I came on how our last spaces was right before you guys launched, and it was I think back at end of December, give or take, and it's just really cool to see like where we're at right now, where you guys are at. Obviously, the success of Memeland is honestly in this market, it's just awesome to see. So yeah, happy to be here chatting with you as well.
Yep, Casey. Oh, Casey, you're mute. Yeah.
Amazing. I think. Is there a raffle we want to talk about?
Oh, yeah. It's not really about raffle or not, right? It's basically, I mean, thanks to Coco Bear, right? Thanks to Rio, right? I think, or thanks to the whole Con Council. Basically, we are very lucky at Memeland. It's, I think, Henry, please correct me if I'm wrong. Basically, Memeland got the biggest allow list allocation for Genkai, right? And then for us, it's a great honor, right? Because I think if you look at the space right now, other than a few companies that got a lot of funding, right? Basically, all the OG collections they don't do shit, right? I mean, but if you understand CyberCon's history, you know that they haven't raised any big outside funding, right? I think they have really, really low mean price, right? And then they keep launching a lot of interesting stuff, right? They are one of the first NFTs that launch a token, right, called Bananas, right? And then they also have VX. They build in quite a lot of metaverse, right? They got a lot of virtual metaverse land. By the way, this is maybe one of the reasons why Kongs is down bad, right? I feel that the treasury, yeah. But I think the whole thing is yeah, it's just an inspiration, right? So when we know that, okay, we may actually get a very big allocation of the Genkai allow list, we're so happy. Yeah, I think on one hand is a recognition, right, for what we have built, right, and on the other hand is just because, okay, finally there's a project I personally am very excited to meet. Yeah, that's why I got allow listed, right, personally, and also our collection also got one of the biggest allocation. So I think this is very exciting. Yeah, I mean, people talk about a lot of other memes and stuff, right? But this is the only meme that I'm honestly excited about. Yeah.
Oh, happy to hear that. Which, by the way, sorry to chime in there, Casey, but you're spot on. We had some communities earmarked before we started our collabs. Memeland was the first that everybody talked about, and the allocation for Memeland, I think is 3 times larger than any community that we collabed with. It's a testament to your community. It's a testament to how you've treated Kongs when you guys launched, and just sort of that synergy between between our communities. Obviously, I know you in Cocoa Bear chat, and Kyong is a massive whale, and you're part of our community. So it's cool to be here. It's cool to know that you guys are going to be able to take part in our mint, and we really wouldn't have it any other way.
I have a question for Ray and maybe Henry. You know, Ray talked about a lot about CyberCons, and what do you think is so special about CyberCons community compared to Memeland?
Memeland community sucks. Yeah. Right? I mean,
stop it.
Honestly, no, just joking, right? I feel like, yeah, I think people will fuck, right? No. The thing is, different communities, right? We actually can't really compare, right? But when you look at the holder distribution, right, and then you can see quite a lot of people in CyberCons, they are actually quite experienced crypto people, right? I mean, they, as Henry mentioned, right, I think the OGs in CyberCons, a lot of them, they actually come from the Axie Infinity background, right? Maybe they're the early Axie Veil and stuff. That's why they kind of understand the value of GameFi, right? They also understand the value of fungible tokens, right? To them, NFT is never just about a JPEG, right? It's about building the community, right? That's basically what we believe in, right? So I feel like for us, we are more like a student, right? For them, they're like a pioneer. It's kind of like that to me, right? Because I think for people who don't know, right, I think CyberCons, Henry, correct me if I'm wrong, right? CyberCons, I think it's more OG than Bored Ape Yacht Club, right?
Yeah,
I think so, right? Yeah. So, but of course, right, in this space, it's not about who's first, who's early, right? I mean, there are even older NFT collections and stuff, right? But what I respect the most is actually the community is very strong. I mean, when you go to Wall Street Con, right, and then you talk about a lot of interesting stuff. Of course, sometimes I think the discussions go very heated and stuff, right? But ultimately, I would say that CyberCons kind of is one of the pioneers and leaders who helped shape the current NFT form, which is what we have today, right? And the thing is, they are willing to keep pushing the boundaries, right? And I think that's the part that is interesting to me, right? And of course, for me, personally, I really love pixel art, right? That's why I own a lot of Kaiju Kings. I own a lot of AV Yacht Club, and then I own a lot of not a lot, quite because CyberCon is super expensive when I joined. Yeah. I mean, still super expensive, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I own the good looking one. Yeah, not good looking. There are 5. This is like a personal alpha. Yeah, there are 5 Kongs, 5 Genesis Kong. They actually only have 1 trait. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, 5. Yeah, I think I own 3 of them. Yeah, I think the 2 other guys also know that I like that. Yeah, that's why they always list it at a very high price. Yeah, so fuck them. Yeah, but anyway, yeah, this is something that I really, really like. I think, yeah, Kong is just very, very strong. Yeah, I mean, not just the look, but also the community.
Yeah. Okay, that's a great. I want to follow up on that question, Karen. That's great. So it's so interesting to hear this, right? So because Ray likes the pixelated art of CyberCon, that's what the potatoes are kind of pixelated, and now CyberCons is fans of Azuki, so they're doing more anime style stuff. So before you came on, Ray, Henry was really gushing about Memeland, so it's your turn to do it as well. I just want to know, like, Karen talked about community, but for builders looking at it, what were like maybe 3 things that you looked at when you saw CyberCon before you knew anything about them, but just looking at what they're doing? What did you see as like, oh, these are really cool things that I'd like to see how to integrate with potatoes or MVP, whatever you started off with before you launched into it, that you thought you wanted to kind of, not copy, but kind of like, replicate into the Memeland world?
Well, we can just say copy, right? I think, I mean, copy is fine. Right? I think in this space,
it's a compliment.
Okay, yeah.
It's a compliment on one hand, but the whole concept about blockchain, right, is basically you can just fork it, right? I mean, you can fork an Ethereum chain, right, if you can, right? But the thing is whether people think that, oh, your new chain has potential. That's another question, right? I mean, that's why I think in this space we should admire people copying, right, and make it better. Right? I think that part is the key. Right? I think for CyberCons, CyberCons is honestly, it's very innovative. I'm not saying that just because Henry is here, right? I think for people who understand the NFT space better, right? I think Kongs, I think how they actually build a playable GameFi, right? I think that part is huge, right? And then they are the one who introduce a fungible token, right, in a funny manner, right? It's called bananas, right? I think that part is also huge. I think that inspires a lot of other NFT collections as well, right? But of course, I mean, there are a lot of I would say when you are the pioneer, right, you will hit some brick wall, you will hit some challenges and stuff, right? Because you're the first one, right? I mean, that's why that's also another thing that I really admire. Is okay. They know that they are really great at innovation, right? But maybe they are not as great as marketing and stuff. That's why they are always open to listen and then trying to do something more, right? And then, for example, right now for Genkai, right, the arts, the marketing, right, you can see that how they launch it is quite different from how they launch CyberCons, right? How they launch VX and stuff. So I feel like I think the token aspect, the GameFi aspect, and also how they keep learning. I think those are the things that are very interesting to me. Yeah, and to be honest, right, even for the token gated community, for example, at CyberCons, I remember when I joined NFT, basically the best alpha, right, is from the Wall Street Con, right? I think it is literally is better than Wall Street, right? Because for Wall Street, right, you probably have to work really hard, go to Ivy League and stuff, right? For CyberCons, you just have to buy a baby, right? Then you can just join a Wall Street Con, right? So I think all these innovations, I mean, right now today we feel like okay, every project has this, right? But they were the guys who kind of like started that, right? I think that's the part that is the most amazing thing for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Henry, what do you have to say back about all that, like the innovation side and what Ray just said?
I don't have to say anything. Ray's doing a better job than I am. You kidding me? Keep going, bro. No, yeah, Ray missed probably this part because he hadn't joined yet. But to his point, and thank you for the kind words. Obviously, it means a lot to us as Kongs. I'm watching Wall Street Kongs right now, and people are loving what you're saying. We learned a lot from you guys. To your point, we sucked at how we launched the VXs because we just didn't know. We watched how you guys did what you did with potatoes and captains, obviously MVPs. And we're like, okay, like you said it on Spaces. It was something that stuck with me. You said it's not who does it first. It's who does it the best. People don't always remember the first. They remember like who does it the best. And so we're taking a page out of that book with Genkai. And to your point, I think people who either had no idea we existed or only defined us by a chart where they saw, oh my gosh, these guys are 215 ETH and like they fell off a cliff, right? To 7 or 10 or wherever we're at right now. I think those people are starting to see a different side of Kongs, which is like, okay, they're learning. You have to adapt a bit in this space. You need to learn. You need to see what other people are doing. And honestly, and I'm not one to like, we're not one as Kongs. The part we're not great at is the hype and FOMO. I think when people see what we're doing with this and they see the changes to the ecosystem and the things that are going to come out from Genkai, which we won't really release until almost the very end, they're going to be like, oh shit, this is so on brand for Kongs. Like what we're going to do is going to make so much sense to anybody who knows who we are at our core. And I think the crowd we're going for, which is this Asian-based crowd where we think the future of crypto is going to appreciate the moves that we're making. And I think what I just said will make more sense the closer we get to mint. But Ray, appreciate the kind words. We have a lot of obviously the respect we have for Meme Land is in the size of the collaboration that we have. And by the way, the fact that Mio is doing traits for Meme Land, that speaks volumes to what he thinks of the ecosystem, because he's a busy guy and he just doesn't throw his artwork out there for everybody. So thank you for, thanks for the kind words and for being an awesome holder. And I think there might be a 0 trade or a 1 trait Jenny Kong, maybe near the floor. You can always check it if you're bored. But hey, no big deal. By the way, in our mint, Jenny's, if there's anybody out there who doesn't know this, Jenny Kongs get 2 airdrops, baby Kongs get 1 airdrop. So if you haven't been paying attention because you're in, another side of Web3, but you have Kongs, that's just something for those people to know.
Awesome. I'm loving this whole builder to builder chat, but I think I have a question for both of you. So like you guys talk about innovation and pushing the boundaries. How do you keep the team like challenging the team? Because the team is all over the world, like as you guys and to us as well. We have teams like across the world in different time zones. So how do you do that to both of your teams? Maybe Ray first, Henry first.
Go for it, Ray.
Yeah. Our team is almost like mentally challenged, because of all the when question, right, from the community. I think I'm not trying to make bad jokes and stuff. I just feel like I think the interesting part about Web3 is actually the feedback loop is very, very short, right? It's almost like instant feedback. And I think you just have to ask the product manager, right? You just have to ask the developers, right? To go to the Discord, right? To go to the Twitter, right? And then to see people's response towards anything that you launch, right? And then you will feel very challenged. You will see the challenge. But I think the real challenge is actually how you can push through it, even though the community may not like it at first, right? Because as we all know, right, I think in NFT, a lot of people, they care a lot about the floor price, right? But the floor price is controlled by people who don't really believe in your project anymore, right? Who are not. I mean, this is a heavy word. It's not believe in your project anymore. It's controlled by the people who want to sell, right? And most of the time, because of a lot of money reason, right? Basically, they will undercut each other, right? So basically, the whole thing is not just about the team. It's not just about the holder. I think a lot of the time is the floor price controlled by the people who believe the least, right? In the team, in the community. But the thing is, they are also usually the loudest, right? And that's why they always push for some narrative that will create some short-term result, right? Instead of for the long-term gain. Right? I think those are the real challenge for us as a team. How can we, on one hand, tell people that, okay, what we really want to build, but on the other hand, keep people interested in the short term. So it's almost like you have to balance two basically contradictory stuff at the same time. I think that's the thing that is the real challenge. And to be honest, right, for us, people who are willing to work on Web3 at the bear market, right, basically they are interested and believe in the future of blockchain, future of crypto, right? So almost like they are really, really passionate, right? Because the speed in Web3 is so fast that our team almost always like work overtime and stuff, but they're willing to do so. I mean, at least they told me, right? But I think that part is you have to be passionate about Web3. Otherwise, it's a very, very tough job, right? But yeah, for one thing I want to add before is, I mean, CyberCons is also very tech savvy, right? I think one of their, I don't know whether it's part of the team or part of the council, right? I mean, Al, right? He created the Guardian contract, right? The Guardian, and I think right now they rebrand it as like ERC 721. I forgot what is exactly is the name, but basically it improves the security of the NFTs, right? And then there are a lot of innovation on the tech side, right? Which, I mean, for me as a non-tech guy, I don't know how to say it out loud, right? But I think all those things is another things that I really admire about CyberCons. But I think back to the original question is that the challenge, right? How to challenge a team, how to face the challenge and stuff. Right, Henry, your turn.
Yeah, Henry, does that resonate?
Oh, yeah. And real quick to the Guardian contract, which is, so it was always the ERC 721X, but we just thought it wasn't sexy enough. So we called it Guardian contract. But Guardian contract is two-factor authentication on chain, exactly to your point. It allows people to have an NFT. We'll be using this standard for Genkai. So you can have your NFT in a hot wallet, which normally you're going to have your great NFTs in a vault. But if you have an NFT like, let's say, the VX Kong, which is used for gaming, you want it in a hot wallet. Otherwise, it's a pain in the ass to play the game. So you can have an NFT in a hot wallet that's locked with another wallet. And God forbid you ever have that hot wallet compromised. That NFT can't leave that wallet. It can only be called back to the wallet that's locking it. And it's a standard that if more people used it or migrated to it, because it's open source, nobody would lose their NFTs. Literally, it happens all the time where somebody gets drained, but the only thing left in their wallet is their VX Kong. So, how do we communicate as a team across the world? It's hard, especially, I'm Eastern, I'm East Coast. There's times I have to have a call with somebody in Vietnam or in Japan. So maybe I have to take a call at 11 p.m. or midnight, and I'm more of a morning person, and you're coordinating with your teams who literally, you can have 12 hours difference. And so it's hard, like no lie, it's hard. But what I've found is most core teams that are making it are workaholics. They're driven. And that's not the type of thing that's ever going to get in anybody's way, nor is it anything that people will complain about. They're just like, okay, this is what it is. Like, if this is the job I got to do, this is what comes with that job. And as Kongs, we're like seriously blessed, fortunate, whatever word you want to use, that we're still here 2 years later to even be on a Spaces with a very relevant project with lots of volume like Memeland. Like, we're happy to still be here in the conversation. And we're here because at the end of the day, we don't give a shit what we have to do. We're going to do it. Even when the tech isn't sexy, like literally if you're a Kong holder, we have our own bot that we designed called KongBot. And if you get compromised, we have the Guardian contract, but let's say you get compromised, it flags our mods, it flags our team. We can literally pull you into a support ticket, or you come into a support ticket. We can use our bot to extract NFTs and tokens from your wallet to a safe wallet. And that's something that, like, I don't know anybody else doing that. Like, we give a shit about protecting our community. We care about security. We care about innovating and iterating, even when those things aren't sexy, and even when those things aren't what does anything to the secondary market. We're just like, this is what we believe in. And we do believe at some point that the stuff we're doing will matter to a lot more people than it might matter to right now. And so that's that kind of future that we're building towards.
No, I think protecting holders is sexy.
I do too. You know what? I do too. Like, I'm not a dev, but like, I think it makes a lot of sense when you can save somebody's shit. I mean, that's how I look at it.
I have some random questions. Yeah, talking about Kongs and stuff, right? when we launch captains, people ask us, some critics said that, hey, how come Kong is dark skin? That's racist. How come you call how come you call dark skin people Kong? Right? Have you guys ever faced any criticism? Yeah, for example, Henry, your Kong is actually pretty dark skinned. And I know that in real life, right? You are not a dark skinned person, right? Have you ever faced any criticisms that, okay, you are actually doing blackface and stuff, right, online, something like that, racist or something like that, especially when you live in the US?
Yeah. Also, in real life, I have both of my eyes. But in real life, I'm like the whitest Jewish guy you will ever meet. But at the, it's an interesting thing, because there was a period of time, and it was around a time where other PFPs were coming out that were, monkey pictures, where that topic came up, where people were thinking that there was going to be some legit ties that people would have, like undertones of racism within collections. And I think because we're a pixelized collection, it's literally, honestly, I've never heard it. Because I think when you look at a Kong, I don't want to say it's cartoonish. It's not the right word. I just think it's that it looks like a Kong. When I first saw them, I faded them, by the way. When I first saw Kongs, I'm like, what are these like mutant looking, like fluorescent, gorillas? But I didn't think that they had any resemblance to people. I thought that they looked like as gorilla-like as they possibly could. So fortunately for Kongs, and obviously that's a thing, like when I say we would shut it down, like, you guys, we don't stand for that kind of stuff of any, racism, sexism, etc. But yeah, haven't had it, thankfully. But if we did, I would say, like, man, that would be a really hard parallel to draw between a 2D pixelized gorilla and somebody that thinks there's racial undertones to it.
Yeah, I know that this is a tough question. I mean, this is a easy question to answer, but tough questions to talk about out loud. right? Because I think people are very sensitive, right, these days, and I think those are the things that people will just take something out of the context, right, and then keep attacking the team and for no reason, right? I think that part is also kind of like amazed me, especially I live in Asia, right, and and I think another question that I always see people joke about is, okay, cyber Kongs, right? I mean, you can actually have a Kongs, and then you can use the banana, right, to breed babies, right, in the past. And then people will ask, okay, how come a guy, right, can breed baby Kongs and stuff? It doesn't make sense, blah blah blah. I mean, it's so stupid when you listen to people's criticism online. It's almost like, okay, shit, why are those people having money to buy expensive JPEG, right? When they ask so many stupid questions. But it turns out, I think people just have so much time. Sometimes they troll so hard that you don't really know whether they are like fudding or not, right? But I think all those things is very interesting in Web3 because people are actually behind a JPEG, right? That's why they can ask whatever questions that they want to ask. And to be honest, right, it's easier to farm engagement when you ask some ridiculous question, right? Because if you ask a legit question, right, people may not be too excited about it. But if you ask some stupid question, right, and then have some stupid accusation, people actually want to engage with you. On one hand, they want to defend, but on the other hand, they just want to keep trolling and stuff. So I think, yeah. I mean, again, I always feel like Web3 is the future, right? Web3 is very, I'm very bullish about Web3. I'm just not very bullish about people in Web3. Yeah, I mean, at least not yet. Yeah.
Do you want to know? It's a funny that you brought up that point about how do two what most people would perceive as male Kongs make a baby with bananas. That's going to actually get answered within the lore because because Kongs aren't having sex to make babies. So that's going to be part of this world we're building, is the explanation of what are incubators, etc. But Ray, to your point, yeah, we know the shit posters out there, you know, farming engagement. The narrative has to change a bit in Web3. I think the people that we've held up as thought leaders, and I'm not saying we've held them up, but the people that have been thought leaders, the Ben.eths, the people who just farm shit posting, it's the part that I hate the most about Web3. It really is. And sometimes, honestly, I struggle with it because I can get vocal, especially in Wall Street Kongs, where I feel like it's a little safer for me to say something. I can get vocal about like what I dislike about Web3. And sometimes that's off-putting even to the community. I've had people that I know have left the community because they don't like my stance on something. And I'm kind of like, you know what, at 40 years old, if I can't say what I want to say, and I'll try to keep it like as respectful as I can, but if I can't say what I want to say, I don't want to do this. Because at the end of the day, I gotta be a little bit real to myself. Otherwise I'm being somebody that I'm not. And that's something I kind of refuse to do right now.
All I get from what you just said is Kongs is not having sex. Yeah. I think that is like very, very realistic. Very
juicy.
Realistic. Yeah.
Juicy alpha, bro. Juicy alpha heard for the first time on the GM show.
Yes. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, Casey. Yeah, Karen, back to you. Yeah. I have to I'm sorry, I keep laughing. Yeah.
That's awesome. I think we're going to wrap it up there, though. Unless there's any other stuff we want to just summarize on the Genkai stuff. Henry, it's minting. You're minting at the end of this month.
So next week, stay tuned, because end of next week, we're going to be dropping a lot of details on what this is. We should be minting the week after with some announcements coming. I can at least say this. There's going to be some cool, like, let's say cross-chain components to this. And that's all I can say about that part right now. But yeah, stay tuned. Next week, we'll have some info. The week after, we'll be executing CyberKong's Genkai, and looking forward to having you guys along for the ride for sure.
Yeah, thank you. I think please let us know, right? I think on the minting mechanism and stuff, right? I feel like a lot of good projects, right? I think they fumble on the minting mechanism, right? It's I mean, of course, right? Kongs is the OG. Kongs has a lot of great supporters, right? Including Kerns and other and Coco, right? Yeah, so. But I feel like the market is very ruthless these days, right? I mean, holders, because of a lot of rug pulls and stuff, right? They got PTSD, right? I think they're they fear so much these days, right? So I think for us, we launch in a bear market. That's why we kind of, it's always part of us in psychologically, right? We are prepared for that, right? But I feel like a lot of good projects, basically, they don't think about, they think too good of the community and the people, right? That's why they got fucked, right? Because they believe too much, in their community. I mean, Kongs is different, right? But if for the meeting mechanism and stuff, if there's anything that you need our help, or we can just discuss, I think that will help make sure that Genkai has a great start, right? I think for us, for me as personally as a holder, right, and also as a fan, and also for me, man, as I would say a fellow builder in the space. Yeah, I think we are really happy that we got the recognition, from Kongs, right, to get one of the biggest allowance allocation on one hand. But what's more excite me is actually, okay, another new thing, not another, finally. Not finally. I mean, it's hard to say it out loud, but okay, Genkai, right? So excited about it. Yeah, that's what I want to say.
2 years, it'll be almost 2 years since our last mint with the VXs, and exactly to your point, it's some of the hardest decisions that we've had to make with Genkai is how are we going to do this? What's it going to cost? And I think I'm confident in saying that when we give the details. Hey, but Ray, you know this. There's going to be people that no matter what it is, unless it's free, they're going to be like, cash grab.
Yeah, fuck them. Fuck them. Yeah,
at the end of the day, we really think that people are going to view this as like, oh wow, for like an OG project that hasn't minted something in 2 years, like that is more than reasonable for what they're doing. That's serious. But let people judge it when we release the details. But I think people will see like, oh cool, that's Kongs being Kongish.
Yeah.
Yep.
Amazing.
Awesome. Thank you, Henry. Just one last sign-off question in one sentence. Who is Coco Bear?
Ooh. Coco Bear is my everything. Honestly, truly, to anybody who doesn't know Coco Bear, he is the kindest, most generous piece of equipment in Web3.
Perfect.
He's some form of artificial intelligence. Maybe he's Elon Musk, but more than likely, he is some program that's running in somebody's basement in the Western Hemisphere.
Amazing.
Awesome
way to sign off. Henry, thank you so much for your time. We're looking forward to all the great stuff you guys are building out there, and we'll be watching from the GM show.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ray.
Thank you, Ray.
Okay.
Okay, that was great. Super insightful. Alpha dropped. I can't believe it. People are like, what?
I know.
Watch the playback, people. This was an amazing episode of the GM show. I'm very happy to have these two guys talk together, right? Because the influence is so strong between the two, and you see a lot of where the inspiration comes from a lot of this stuff. So I think this is one of the most insightful episodes we've done so far.
Yep. And stay tuned while we collect your wallets for the mint. We're moving on to the next segment. So quickly, we have a live poll like this week about what do you want to see more in the show except for mint and alphas. Defender Saki said racism, aka quotes by Ray. And Thrive, I know Thrive. Thrive said painfully bullish network. So we would love to have Thrive and Object in Motion in our show, maybe in the next couple weeks. Tino said Karen and 9gag CEO rap battle. I don't know if Ray is up for a rap battle, but I'm okay with it. Mark said comedy. All we need is more comedy. And Frightener83 said, would love to learn more about smart contract in general, like for dummies. Perhaps things to look out for in scam contracts. So that's interesting. Maybe we can have someone to come up and talk about more of like the for dummies kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I think maybe we'll start to look into that as well. We've actually booked out guests for the next like 6 to 8 weeks. So there's a lot of people coming on that want to talk about what they're building, and we love to hear from them. But one of my favorite things every week on the show is Karen trying to pronounce these Twitter handles. It's actually funny.
I'm butchering their names.
They're numbers and the consonants that shouldn't be
Yeah.
together. I don't even know what they are either, but it's
Yeah.
quite funny to hear you pronounce that. Okay. Wow. So we really went over this week in the show, but I think it's a lot of great information. So I think we will sign off there. What do you think?
Yeah. Well, just a heads up, we're on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and most podcast networks you might listen to.
Yeah, I had the chance to upload all the last 4 weeks of stuff. So you got the Bobby 100th episode, you got Amanda's episode, Nancy from last week, and then this one will go up either Friday or early next week. So thanks a lot, everybody. We'll see you next week. Same time, same channel. GM Show 9 a.m. Hong Kong, 10 a.m. Tokyo. See you next week.
Rewatch it on YouTube or Twitch.